Let's go to Tel Aviv now. And Israeli Defense Forces International spokesman Major Doron Spielman. Major, good to have you with us today. You hear this back and forth over whether or not there should be a pause. There are reports here in the U.S. that the president is urging Prime Minister Netanyahu to have a 3-day pause in order to release hostages. Is that true? Can you tell us what you know about that?
Thank you for having me, Martha. What I can tell you is that every day over the last 5 days, we've had humanitarian pauses. Even today, between 10 and 2 p.m., we had pauses of fighting in the area of the humanitarian corridor. We saw pictures of 50,000 Gazans from northern Gaza heading towards southern Gaza, which is really what the plan is and has been for us the whole time. We know that this is an impressive number, even though Hamas is trying to stop them at the edge. From a military point of view, we are pressing forward with the diplomats and the politicians are speaking about. I can tell you on the ground, we are under the operative command. We are now closing in on Hamas in very thick door-to-door, alley-to-alley fighting, and we are making great progress. This would not be the time to allow our enemies to regroup exactly when we are closing in on them.
Well, understood. We have heard that argument clearly. There is obviously a lot of protests. There are protests happening in the United States, in other countries as well, including in the UK. This is from the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, talking about the loss of life in Gaza as a result of the IDF action. Listen to this. Okay, this is a quote. There are violations by Hamas when they have human shields. When one looks at the number of civilians that were killed with the military operations, there is something that is clearly wrong. What do you say in response to that, General?
I can tell you that one thing I certainly agree with, something is very, very wrong, and that wrong thing is Hamas. All of these civilian casualties are Hamas's responsibility. What was seriously wrong took place on October 7th, the worst day since the Holocaust, grieving families all over Israel, children being held in Gaza. To make that statement and not to really focus the entire time on the 240 hostages that are being held underground, I feel is somewhat disconnected from the reality of what we're actually dealing with. And the only way to deal with what is seriously wrong here is to completely eliminate Hamas. And the civilians, both on the Israeli side, tragically, and on the Gazan side, tragically, are part of Hamas's plan at the very beginning, and the responsibility is Hamas's and Hamas's alone.
Indeed. Major Spielman, thank you very much. Good to have you with us.